Hey guys, this is Master Jesse, and I'm joined today by Mr. Manuel, one of our former black belts. I'm going to do a little bit to introduce him to get started with. Manuel was with us, I think you started at 10-ish?
Yes, sir, 10-9.
9-10, something like that. And then he left once he graduated from high school. He was one of our instructors for the vast majority of that period of time. Was one of the first ones to test for first dan. Was the first one to test for second dan for us, for sure. And he's decided to join us today to give us a little bit of information about how Taekwondo has helped him in the past and then in his life now that he's in college. So, Manuel, thank you for joining us today.
No problem, sir.
All right, so let's start off. Can you tell us a little bit about how long you trained at KuGar and when you started, and when you retired from competition and why?
So I started when I was 10, and then I really got into competing when I was 11, and that went on for about, I'd say, a maximum of 5 years. And then I decided to hang the towel once I realized that the next year I was going to head off to college, and it seemed like the right move at the time, since I didn't want to conflict with my studies and testing for SATs and applying to college. And your other question was,
why did you retire? But I think you answered that. So so you retired about 16, 17, right about the end of your junior year. Is that about fair? Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I retired. I claimed it, but I'm not done with the sport.
You're not done with the sport?
I don't believe I am. No, sir.
Okay, I love it. Well, that's news. Well, good. But the last time you competed after training continuously, you would say would be then?
Yes,
Okay.
that'd be it.
We're gonna go over a couple easy questions. What were your favorite moments competing, and do you ever miss it? I guess the miss it part's pretty obvious. You just answered that. Yes, you miss it because you're gonna coming back.
Exactly.
But what were your favorite moments competing?
My favorite moments competing would be, if I was to think of a tournament, it'd be the Canadian Open. I think that was an experience.
It was insane.
Just for the trip itself, like the journey to get there was insane. You know,
Insanity.
We got lost, but that was the part of the fun. And
why don't you so that you can why don't you explain that to everybody? Explain it to everybody what the Canadian Open was for us.
it was, I don't know if I can put it in one word, but
Tell them the journey. It's a fun story.
So we get there, we're taking connected flights to New York, because I think at that time we didn't have all our passports. But we were
passport
American.
cards.
Exactly, passport cards, there we go. And but we could pass through the border, the Canadian border. And so we took these trips, and then we rented a car from New York to drive to Canada. And while we drive to Canada, it turns out that Master Jesse's phone didn't have any service.
And it died.
And it died. A combination of just misfortunate events, I would say. But nonetheless, somehow we ended up getting there. I think
we just kept driving.
we actually directions at one point too, and then.
But they didn't speak English. It was great. They didn't speak Spanish either. It was French.
Yeah. And we could look at our phones and be like, "Hey, can you translate for us?"
Because once you remember we stopped at the gas station, and once we got to the gas station, we got some charge, but then we didn't have any data because we didn't know that when you go from the U.S. to Canada, like different.
There's no bars.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was nuts. So then we finally got there. The next day we got you guys weighed in. Salma went with us on that one.
right.
It was you and Salma and I. Her grandma, I guess, had surgery, so normally she would go with us, but she didn't.
She was there.
Mm-mm.
No, yes, she was.
No, that's.
Oh no, she wasn't. She wasn't there actually. You're right.
So we get there, we weigh you in, and then you're first up the next morning.
Yes.
What time did we get there in the morning? You
I think
remember?
we got there like at around 6.
6.
6.
Well, we got up at 6, and then you were the first fight on deck. So you were fighting
Right.
8 o'clock out the gate.
First one to go up.
And then
And
did we win that one?
We took it. It was kind of.
Not close. We hurt that guy.
Yeah, I think, was that the technical knockout kid where
That
I just
was
like
the
spun
one.
and he just like poof, and it was like, oh.
No,
we got kind of. Was
that was the next one. The first one you actually kicked the guy in the face, and he cried. He didn't want to continue. And they have in Canada they have doctors and the doctor determined that the kid could continue, he just didn't want to, and so we won by technical knockout.
Was that it? Some of it was kind of a blur.
Well, the next guy you crushed. Yeah, and that guy was awesome. So we're 2 fights in. Salma loses her first fight against that ridiculously tall Canadian girl. Mm-hmm. Then you win fight number
3, I think?
3, and then fight number 4, and then we lost to Joshua.
Yes. All right. Yeah, that's right. And it was honestly, each fight I felt like was like, I don't know why I thought of it as in levels, like you beat the next guy and it gets a little bit harder, but that wasn't really the case. As I think you mentioned it. It was like that's not what's going on at all.
No.
But I think I don't know.
It was fun, right?
It was fun. It was fun. The
getting lost, not having a phone, just figuring it all out on our own, and then we missed our connect. We were supposed to get that night. You were the last fight as well, so you were the first and the last fight.
We woke up late too, so we ended up missing.
Well, it's because our flight was at 8, and we woke up at 6, and it was a 2-hour drive to New York.
Right.
We were done, so we ended up having to pay for change flights. So that was exciting. Okay, so good stories. All right. So as a kid, when I first got you, you were one of the tiniest little guys I've ever met. You were like a toothpick, and everybody in your division was 10 to 15 pounds heavier than you. You were in the lightest weight division, and you just soaking wet. You just weren't the big dude. And so a lot of the things that should have worked, I remember we taught you how to cover punch, we taught you how to spin.
Oh, right.
And then when somebody would kick you, you would cover punch. They were so big comparatively that they would move you across the room and they would score and you wouldn't. This was before the age of electronics. Mm-hmm. And then when you would spin, if they kicked your front side and you spun with perfect timing and perfect everything, if they made contact at the same time you did, you flew and they didn't. It was really tough. I remember that you used to have a training partner. You remember Mark?
Yes.
And you guys would just go at it. And he didn't beat you by skill. He just beat you by size. Over and over again. From the time you were 8 until the time you were about 10, 11 years old. There was nothing you could do to win a fight. You couldn't buy it. Ultimately, I think a big part of you, I want to know if you feel like a big part of you, or any part of you, was set up from those losses of having to deal with somebody who's just bigger. And you just had to figure it out. And so you were used to struggling and fighting against people bigger than you, or if you think maybe there was something else that led to all of your success later. Was it a mindset? What do you think it was?
I don't know. Like I do remember struggling with people heavier than me, but I didn't think much of it. I just kept on doing what I had to do to get where I wanted to go. So It wasn't really about. I knew I lost, and it bothered me. It was kind of irksome, but at the end of the day, I couldn't really let it hold me down. I just knew I liked what I was doing. I liked what I was learning. I eventually loved what I was doing, right? And I just kept at it. And I lost, but it didn't take away from the feeling of, stepping in the ring and getting that enjoyment of fighting.
Interesting. Okay, so as a coach, I think undoubtedly you're the fastest kid I've ever coached, and I've coached some amazing athletes. Sean Keaton comes to mind. I've coached some great kids that are ridiculous fast, and I still think you're by far the fastest. Every single thing that you threw from the time I got you was 100%. I've never ever had to say, like, Manuel, you have to work harder. Every kick, everything was 100%. Where'd you find the motivation to kick like that? That intensity. Where's it come from?
I'd say it comes from wanting to be faster than everybody else. It was more of a, I guess, since I can do it, why not do it? And I should probably do it if I want to get better. And it just felt right. I guess kind of also like, I was trying to compete with everybody in a sense. And if I lost, I was like, I don't want to lose to you. I kind of want to catch up, Yeah. And then once I catch up, I want to make sure I leave you behind in the dust.
The competitiveness, I love it. All right, so tell us. Let's fast forward a little bit to the end of college. Why don't you tell it? How do we want to? You don't really come from money. Is that a fair statement?
That's fair.
Okay. You've managed to do a good bit for a guy that's come from where you've come from. Mm-hmm. Where did you graduate in your class?
I graduated top four. Well, I was number 4, so 4 out of 1,000, 0.004%. I think. Maybe I'm off. Maybe it's 0.04. No, 0.004%. And it was.
Yeah, that was the question. That's pretty good. Did you attended the magnet? If I'm
I did. I was in the UETM, which is I don't even know what this stands for, but engineering and technology, and I think mathematics was
program for United High School. Well, that's amazing. I think I'd love to know. So I know that your mom didn't put a lot of pressure on you for your grades.
She would never. If I had C's, she would have been definitely fine. If I had failed, she would have probably pushed me a little bit harder. But I think she realized I wasn't struggling and I wasn't doing anything bad either. So she was like, you know what, like, you don't have to get A's in order to be. I don't know. It was interesting.
I feel like the same intensity. The reason I ask you this is I feel like the same intensity that you brought me to work out in class every day. I feel like you took the same intensity to your grades. I feel like you were never really satisfied with a 90.
I wasn't satisfied with 99s. I had to be perfect. It was a pretty. Looking back at it, it was a bad mindset. I think the I'd say meticulous in detail was not great, but it did push me where I wanted to go in some senses. So
I don't think people who are satisfied with 99s end up graduating number 4 in their class out of 1,000. I didn't mean to say that it was a bad thing. I think maybe there are better things than worrying about that 1 out of the 99 that you missed.
Right.
But I do feel like that has been your ticket to success. Because realistically, you don't just come from not a lot of means, you come from not very much at all. And so you've managed to take it. I mean, your story is absolutely amazing. If you think about where you started, which is with nothing, and where you're going to end up, you've made it into college and you've got a decent job. So I think that's an amazing story, and I wanted to highlight that. So let's move on a second. You and I had a very close relationship. Your mom didn't spend a lot of time here. She was working and doing other things. You spent a lot of time with my wife and I and our family. Can you tell us a little bit about how our relationship helped or hurt your competitive career as well as your Taekwondo studies in general?
So I just spent a long time with you guys. You guys are like my family, I would say. I love you guys. And, it definitely helped when, so my mom chose not to be here mainly because she wanted growth. And at the same time, it was beneficial because it did help me grow. But it also, the people around here, I was able to get closer to them too, right? So I was able to also meet other families, and they were, like, hey, like if your mom's not here, like I'll help you out, which was awesome. The environment was great. How to improve my Taekwondo career, I would say, was the fact that I had people behind me and supporting me every step of the way was a big, motivation to keep on going, because I couldn't have done it all by myself, right? I had some people telling me like, hey, you're pretty good. And I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
maybe I should keep on doing this, And that definitely helped. I think hearing that, I think everybody needs a little bit of assurance that they're taking the right path, because I'm pretty sure there's people who don't need it and just keep on going, but hearing like the little hopes and like compliments,
yes,
it goes a long way, right? And then where it took, I think, a little downturn from all the closeness of our relationship was the fact that I don't know, you can't really, I think it was a more me issue, but it was hard to question certain aspects of things, right? Because there was so much being done that, like, is this right? And questioning certain issues and stuff like that was
like
kind
what? That's interesting. Like what?
Like, if I would say, you know what, like, maybe I shouldn't question it because there's always a right. Like, this is probably right since, you're doing it. And I think I looked up to you in a sense where, like, everything you said was
right. That was
right.
It
was
yeah.
What you said was the law, and like not the law, like the law, but also like there's a purpose everything is doing.
Sure.
And I think it like grows from the fact that, like, I remember I questioned once, and you're like, you got upset and you said do it and then ask questions after, and I was like, well, that's kind of what I built myself on. Like, okay, maybe I shouldn't ask questions now.
That's interesting.
But then
that's interesting because I feel like there's a growth. I'll tell you my thoughts on the process is I feel like there's a growth pattern to an athlete. When you have a little kid and your mom says don't run in the street, they don't have time to tell you it's because there's a car coming. They only have time to tell you stop, so they yell stop. It's not that they want to be mean to you, it's that we don't have time, you're about to get hit, we can't reverse that. As an athlete, it's kind of the same thing. When you first start, they don't know their head from their elbow. They need you to keep them safe out there in the ring. So you expect them to follow directions without question. And then if they have a question, when they start to have questions, we know that there's some advancement. It's like the adolescent area. It's like, well, why do we do it that way? I don't like that. Okay, here's why we do it that way. So then we can come together. And then at the adult level, whenever you get to a high level athlete and you're working as a very high level athlete, that's when we have questions like, here's the play, here's where I think you should go. And you say, I don't feel comfortable with that. And so we say, okay, let's do this other thing instead. Because we want you comfortable and your opinion is very much important. But an 8-year-old doesn't get an opinion about what they eat for dinner. A 30-year-old can have an opinion about what they're going to have for dinner and make healthy choices. So I think that was where that conversation
I don't know. It was, I wouldn't say it was strictly that. I wouldn't say just
No?
the competition wise. I think just in general, like questioning stuff was not. It was just
welcomed.
Yeah. It was pretty like, maybe I should just keep this to myself. And
That's interesting. Still don't love being questioned. Maybe I should grow a little bit. Maybe. All right, moving on. So I always felt like one of your largest hurdles, and my hurdle to coaching you, was to get you to believe in yourself. It was like you didn't see how amazingly fast and talented you were, even though we all did and we all told you. So I felt like you faced a lot of self-doubt and fear getting into the ring to compete. Can you share with us if that is the case, and if it was, how'd you manage the fear? And was it something worthwhile for you to face and overcome?
I think so. So I did doubt my abilities because I'd see other people and get intimidated by the fact that I thought they were better. But in reality, you would state that they weren't actually that much better than me, or not better at all. And so that helped, but it wasn't like, this is his job. He has to kind of tell me this, right? Kind of.
Oh, no.
But how like you go to like a restaurant and they're like, oh,
this
it's
is
so
the best
good.
steak
It's
ever.
like they're paying you to say this.
No.
But I wouldn't say I overcame that feeling. I think I'd still had some self-doubt in myself.
How'd you manage it?
Breathing techniques really help, and just listening to music. When I got the iPod and just jamming out really kind of put me in the zone.
Put you in the zone.
And that helped. But before it was just me staying silent, watching my competitors just sit there looking like just chilling, and I'm like, how are they so chill? And I'm about to go face them, Yeah. And that was kind of like
freaky.
Yeah.
For sure. The waiting part is always the worst.
But once you're in there, it's just you're out there. Yeah.
Pure joy.
All that relief just comes out. Like there's a high from it, right?
Oh,
and then once you're there, you're like, I'm here. And the high just like the feeling itself doesn't. So I would get anxious, and that anxiety would just leave, and then just turn into like adrenaline. I'd be like, let's do this, And that was just a fun feeling.
Yeah.
I'd say it's better than going on roller coasters for me. Like.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Especially, I feel like, when it's like the culmination of all that work you did, all that, because you put yourself through real suffering to get at that level, right?
Right.
To be able to kick that fast, that often, that many times, put all that pressure, all that mental focus has gone into this moment, and then there's all that adrenaline, and then does it work, doesn't it? And it's, I love it. I'm glad you did too. All right, what lessons did you learn throughout your life as a competitor that most people might not think about looking from the outside in?
Definitely the hard work that goes in, right? They can't see all that progress that you put in, that they can't see also the mindset that goes behind it, right? Because there's a point where your body just wants to quit, right? And it tells you, look, you can take a break. Taking this break would be nice. Taking this break would be, it'd be okay simply because nobody's really cares. Not that nobody cares, but honestly, like, what are you gonna, like, if I take a break, you're just gonna be like, keep on going, and then that's it. Or, and it's also very contagious, because if, let's say you see other kids doing it and your teammates doing it, you kind of want to slack off too, and you just have to ignore that and just keep on grinding and keep on pushing yourself to, like, like my brain might be telling me, like, you could take a little one, you could relax for a bit, even since you're putting all this work and you're doing much better than everybody else, you could take a break. And at that point, you just have to shut it up and just keep on pushing yourself at your own limits, right? You can't compete with the person next to you. You have to compete with the person, like, yourself.
Inside you. Yeah, telling that guy.
Right.
Learning how to tell that guy.
Like you mentioned, who do you want to come out? Who did you bring to here today? Did you bring, which dog is here, right? The lazy one, the one that's just going to sit back and relax? The coward, I would say, or the beast?
The champion. The Dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
One of Mr. Manuel's names, the Dragon.
It never got caught on, but I thought if I kept on calling myself this, that it would catch on.
Yeah, it didn't catch.
That's okay.
I think you were still in my phone as the Dragon for quite a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
But I think you put it in there.
Nah, I
as
don't
the
think so.
Dragon.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right. So listen, that's all I've got for you. But I do want to know, if, just in case, I want to circle back around. I got this question, one more. Least favorite fights. Anybody that you just had an epic throwdown with?
Oh, an epic throwdown. I would say it has to be. I'd say like throwing down with you. That was fun. Like those are good fights.
Yeah, those were fun.
They're like I got to push myself a bit. I don't think I won any of them, but I think those were interesting and like I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as I got to.
Least favorite.
Least favorite has to be Stephen Lane. I think that was not fun.
That was not fun. Yeah, that was garbage is what that was. I'll tell you, my favorite fight was you and Joshua Koloski. I felt like we were cadets, and we had scouted him. We knew everything he was going to do. Everybody did. He's only going to throw that left leg up. So we had planned on it, and he had eaten everybody. We're in the finals of the winners bracket, and I said, you're going to slide in, you're going to nail this kid with spin hook kick. And you crushed him right off the bat. Right off the bat.
That actually brings me to this fight with Tucker from.
That was a good one too.
That was a good fight because I think months prior I had lost to him.
Bad. We got whooped at Chaw's school.
Exactly, and just redeeming myself and showing like, hey.
Well, I kept trying to tell you, we're in his house. Of course he couldn't be more comfortable. And Chaw was coaching him, and he was just eating your lunch. And I was like, it's okay, we're gonna make adjustments. And then we got him, was it first round or second round in the States?
I think first round.
And we took him. We absolutely took him.
What I also had problems with was like, I don't know if people ever saw me, like other coaches were like, hey, watch out for him. But I wasn't in that scene.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of coaches friends then. We were brand new at this.
Oh, that's right.
Brand new. I had some friends, but they were all over the place. Anyway, last question, man. You got any messages for the little kids that are practicing right now, getting ready for next year's nationals, trying to get to that I don't want to use next level because now there's a group, the next level group, trying to get to the next belt levels because there's like peak because they're at the peak, and then there's like next level because they're reaching that next level.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But
what? You really don't?
No idea. I have no clue.
Okay, well, you got any messages for kids getting ready?
Push yourself to the hardest. Go as fast as you can every time you have a drill. First master the drill, then go as hard as you can. I think that's it.
I like it. Coming from the fastest man on the planet, that's
if you think fast, I think the reason I'm fast is I thought of the fastest thing, which is light. I can never reach light, right? I don't think anybody can. That's impossible. That's like a law, right?
Muhammad Ali, like, I'm so fast, I turned off the lights. I was in bed before the room was dark.
Yeah, but he's claiming he's faster than light, which is breaking the physical world, right?
Oh my goodness, don't brain out with it. Physics
so
here.
If I just thought of light, then I was like, that's as fast as I could want to go, which, again, I won't reach. But if I could reach, like go towards there, then, I mean...
I'm not going to give anybody that advice. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'd say follow.
Much appreciated. Please give us a like and a follow. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Insta, all of that stuff, man. Thank you so much. Take care, guys. Bye.